to this whole Planet X mystique thing.
All right.
We're going into a new area here, so I'm going to divert for the moment from John's comments, and I want to go to my own comments about where I think we are at in this cosmic dance with the brown dwarf, of which these people, these nice people up in Canada and in Australia, you know who you are. You think you know it all, but you don't know half of what you think you don't know. In fact, you're clueless. We are probably 13 to 18 months out. Here we go. Now they're going to start misquoting me. You watch. And they'll get it all wrong. Write this date down. I'm going to go public as of this moment. Everybody out there, grab a pen and pencil. Just scratching me. Pen, pencil, whatever. October 18th, 2016. I'm going to suggest and predict that on or about that exact date, a day before, a day after a date passed, that there will be first proof of extraterrestrial landings in either Mexico City or Veracruz on the ocean, Pacific side, or in both simultaneously. And that will signal the beginning, excuse me, tight throat tonight. That'll be the beginning of the new line of communication being set. And then I do expect that there will be large contingencies of sighted craft. No more science fiction. No more HARP and all this other stupid stuff. It all has to end. They will simply make themselves known. They don't have to fire a shot to change things. All they have to do is make their appearance known. Maybe land a couple, but they don't have to fire a shot and wouldn't need to. I just took a little slug of water, guys. Thank you. We are probably 12 months away from the start of what could be a quickly escalating series of earthquakes, which I believe will begin somewhere in the Kamchatka Peninsula area and going down the Pacific coast, tearing through Japan. I think there could be a severe earthquake there, very severe. And it'll keep on going. It'll start hedge hopping. What I believe is happening is that the core structure of the planet, now guys, get this right, is becoming more and more unstable. Just like in one of these sci-fi movies. Isn't it amazing? We've already seen all the worst of the sci-fi movies, haven't we? 2012, when there's no escaping and everything, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, no, it's not been that bad, and don't try to make it like that. That's not what I'm doing.
Well, there was just an 8.0 off of Alaska, right? I think it was today.
No, it's probably up on my screen on my emails. I get alerted by USGS on every earthquake 5.5 or above anywhere on the planet. And I now have about 400 recorded major earthquakes. And they've all created a pattern. And I think I want to write an article on it, but I don't know if I have the energy. We're nearing the tipping point. And once these earthquakes begin, it's going to set off the volcanoes. See, they go hand in hand together. And there are a number of volcanoes along this ring of fire that are already burning underneath. Thousands of them. Did you know that there is more bad CO2 and sulfur releases and all these other poisonous gases? When an undersea volcano belches into life, it can cascade 100 tons of caustic gases into our atmosphere in one plume, and they go off hundreds every day. Yes, we have a changing problem with the Earth apparently seeming to warm. But it's not either warming or not warming. It's terribly confused. See, here we go. Everybody's going to jump all over this. Well, okay. Don't like it, don't listen.
That's right.
How's that?
All right. I agree.
All right. I think that we are nearing a tipping point where the frequencies and the magnitudes and the patterns of these earthquake activities is about to become paramount in releasing a certain type of earth energy, in this case, volcanic, along with the earthquakes. I think it's just a bad timing for us. Now, one or more may not happen. If we escape both of them in a serious way, and we escape this going into 2016 without any major earthquakes or without losing any major cities, or shipping on the ocean, tidal waves, stuff like that. If we get through this September 2016, then the landing will be in perfect timing and harmony. However, if we don't, and there is a series of earthquakes, then that timing period, September 18th, 2016, becomes now even more important for reasons we don't yet totally understand. I don't yet know. I know when and where, but I'm not sure exactly why and to whom. I'm finding that out now.
Okay.
Now, Mexico is very important here, by the way. Mexico City, the entire city, is built upon a sinking lake bed from prehistoric times. The ETs, I believe, will try to be doing some earth stabilizing technique to stop the sinking, because if it continues, it's going to gobble up most of the interior of Rome in about 100 years. Gone forever, beneath the sand. So, if this works, it'll be a demonstration. I'm going way out on a limb here. It's a demonstration of their goodwill toward helping man. Now, Mexico has been extremely friendly to the entire UFO community and world and newspapers and TV and news. It's a common thing in Mexico. Everybody knows there's flying saucers. Everybody sees them. If you don't believe me, just go out.
Oh, I do believe you. I've seen my own. I mean,
All right.
Yeah. So.
All right. So where are we going with this? Real simple. I think that we're headed for a very rough period, which could be good, bad, or really ugly. Because the storms, as you said earlier in your opening, the storms are still getting worse, and so are the tornadoes. We're getting tornadoes now where we shouldn't get tornadoes. Not really. Which leads me to John's work. Okay, we got that segue. That was a good segue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure it was going to work. Okay. You see, we are vulnerable people. We do have to take second thoughts about things we say and places we go. All right. This is under date by John. This is by John DiNardo, a good friend and I believe, a respected writer and researcher. Do you mind if I give out his? I guess can I do that? Give out his.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Website?
Give out any information you like. Sure.
I think. Ask John if he'll add you to his daily newsletters. They're fabulous.
Oh, he keeps me updated all the time. So.
Well, listen. Can you post it then? You've got it.
Yeah, I'll post it.
Why don't you post it for everybody? Then we don't have to waste time on it right now. Okay. All right. This is posted on Saturday, June 21st, 2014 at 9:54 a.m. This is when he posted this entry. It's entitled, "Why the Geomagnetosphere is Collapsing." Now that's pretty damn scary, isn't it? What is a geomagnetosphere in the first place? Well, it goes into what the central core of the Earth's dynamo machine thought to be a solid piece of inner core that's been forced off its normal center point. And therefore, that solid inner core, which would look, okay, let's pretend it's an huge iron bowling ball, okay, has been revolving rather than rotating within Earth's molten outer core. Okay, stop there. Earth's molten outer core. So right there we understand that the Earth's core is magma right off the bat. And now it's even more important because they've been finding an increased movement of magma flows in all of these major earthquakes. Very important. Okay. What's happening is, I'm going to veer off his script for a second. What's happening is that our sun is still undergoing a series of miscommunicating power surges that have been driving toward and around the sun now for about 12 years, up real close. This goes back to the original thing in the book. Okay, let me say a quick thing about the book. If any of your audience out there has not yet had a chance to pick up my book, I'm offering them at only $14.95 plus $2 shipping and handling, and you get the book for less than half price, and I'll sign it. I'll let you read the book. Everything we talk about in that book, Michael, that you've given many of them away.
Yes, I have.
Every single thing we spoke about has come about mostly within and on time, on schedule, including this period that we're talking about right now. All of this is covered in the book.
Well,
the past, present, and future tense. I tried to bring it together. Mind you, I have been researching this book for about 10, 11 years. It took 7 years to write it, so that's 17 years. You know how it all began? By a cave painting in a snake-infested cave in Yucatan in 1978, which I was an expedition member. I very rarely talk about this. The person I was with was a very famous anthropologist, map maker, psychologist, insectologist. He had like 6 PhDs. And he found out where Quetzalcoatl's tomb was. And there we were. It's at 4:30 in the afternoon, and there was a curse. It said, "You must be out at sundown. You cannot get caught in Quetzalcoatl's cave past sundown. Sheer death." That was the thing. That was the rumor. And it was there on the wall while they're doing their thing. Of course, Quetzalcoatl wasn't there, but there was evidence he was there. Paintings and all kinds of stuff. And some relics, which we didn't touch. I saw this map thing to scale of this object that appears to be coming toward the solar system. These were like little pictures, like little pictographs. And if you really looked at them and your eyes moved, you could see this object. These are little paintings of this object coming toward our solar system, whipping out behind the back of the sun and back out again. And then it went out into what looked like a void. These pictograph paintings. And we were not allowed to have any cameras. That was the agreement with the Indians. These were the real descendants of the Incas and the Aztecs. By the way, they are now not that much different, the two cultures. I tried to cement it in my mind. And then when I linked it up with chapter 8 in the book of Revelation, which is all the trial and tribulation that Mother Earth will go through at this point in time, so many years out from the start of the tribulation, that it all suddenly came together. You see, I had this wall. I remember I was in my apartment in Colorado, and I had this white wall, and I knew how to plaster little holes, you know. So I had this wall full of cue cards and pictures and pieces of this and that story, all about Wormwood and this Planet X and this thing that they call the dwarf brown star, and went on and on and on, and I got all of this evidence. And suddenly, it started to come together like a picture. It was a very, Michael, this was one of the most magical, special moments that I can remember, is one afternoon, I suddenly looked, I breathed into the living room, because it was on the living room wall, and I stopped and I looked, and I turned around and I looked again, and suddenly I saw what was slowly coming together in bits and pieces. It was like looking at a map of the United States with, you know, 3/4 of the states filled in. I'm using that as an example, okay? And I said, I know exactly what this thing is. And I went to town, and I filled in all the blanks, and I knew exactly where to look, because each clue that I had engaged me to keep going until the next clue. But every time I uncovered a major clue, which I covered, see, stupid remarks they make about the book, I've never read it. Most of the things they say about the book are not true because it never appeared in the book. All kinds of wild claims. The Earth was going to absolutely be ripped apart, and there would be nothing left, and no human being would survive. I don't know where the hell they got that from. So, most of these rabid fans, and I'm sure, you know, and I don't mean that too disrespectfully, that really hate the book have never read it. You can't hate something that's absolute truth based on years of research. By the way, every single chapter has its own bibliography, page number, section number, publishing date, publisher, everything. Everything in there can be checked out. I dare you to go after one fact and prove it wrong based on my bibliography. You do that and you find one, you bring it to me, and I'll make corrections, okay? And anybody out there, I just challenge you. I get these ridiculous statements attributed to this object, which people don't know if they say Planet X. Let's jump right in there real quick. Let the other thing go now, okay? While I'm doing that, I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Good. Okay, Planet X is not a planet. Planet X is a brown dwarf star. It's been called Planet X because that's the acronym that most people have put to it over the years. There are hundreds and hundreds of books and magazines and articles and emails to articles and pictures and calculations out there supporting this thing, this phenomenon called Planet X. I didn't invent it. I didn't start it. NASA did, Michael. NASA called it Planet X.
Right. Oh, let me ask you this: where would this Planet X be now? Because that's what people are asking
right now.
Right.
I believe that it's already made its path behind the sun. We can't see it. It's too late now to see it. It's already on its way back out. It's being flung back out from behind our sun, out into its long 1,800-year elliptical journey to the black and blue giant, the big guide star, and then back again, once again, 3,600 years later, back it comes. So now I believe it's on its way out, and as it's winging its way out, and yes, it does, by the way, the article, and the stupid things they said in that, I'm going back to that garbage. Of course, Planet X has debris fields, probably a huge one pushing and pulling, and even on the sides. It doesn't have to be just pushing, pulling. It can be dragging in all directions. Okay? Yes. I'm stupid not to think that. And it's exciting our sun as it's letting go of its agitation of it over the past 12 years. And the worst of it came and went, I think. We may have escaped a really bad situation earlier. Doesn't mean it's over entirely.
But it would have to be out of our solar system at this point, right? Or would
it never was in? That's another fallacy. It was never in the solar system. It approached it and went up and around the entire solar system, up and over and around the backside of the sun. It's a little technical. Okay. Now, the important thing is that as this celestial body, I believe, my own calculations, I believe it's about the size of Saturn, but 60 times Saturn's mass because of what it once was. I believe that this thing called Planet X, this brown dwarf star, here we go, Michael, the knives are going to come out, watch. I can hear them ripping already. I believe that this little brown dwarf star, about the size of Saturn, was actually a child of the sun, so to speak. It was a young baby star that was in the process of becoming a fusion star like its mother, if I can talk in, kindergarten terms. And when this disaster happened about 4.5 to 5 billion, 5.5 billion years ago, this giant asteroid comes crashing through the plane of the ecliptic. I'm gonna run the whole thing, Michael, in 2 minutes. Smashes through the plane of the ecliptic, taking out several of the outer planets. One of them was probably a planet called Marduk, which was a large rocky planet situated between Mars and Jupiter. And that's curiously where there is a huge field of rock and debris. And everyone comes to the conclusion that something had to be there. Yeah, there was a planet there. And what's left now is this huge debris field. Okay?
All right. Well, Dr. Rand, I seem to have lost you. So this will probably be a good time to go into a break. And then I will bring Dr. Q Rand. And rather than spend the entire night trying to wave off claims that people may make, we're trying to get to some information. And here's where it stands. If you don't believe it, you don't have to believe it. Nobody's forcing you to. People's personal experiences or things they've researched, I listen to it all because you get little bits and pieces from everybody. And that's what I do. So if you want to call in, you've got a question or a comment, you're more than welcome to. I promise you, however, if you're disrespectful to me or my guest, I will hang up on you. So, you're welcome to ask questions, but accusations, no. So if you got questions, fine. All right. So with that, and Dr. Rand, I'm not saying that because there's a bunch of people who are, saying stuff in chats or anything. I just got to make that clear sometimes. So
that's okay. Everybody's got an opinion.
That's right. That's right. All right.
So I'd like to hear their opinion. If they present it that way, I say, okay, let me think about that.
Right. And it does. And lines are open, 803-317-2264. I know David Koss just tried calling in, and he dropped. So, David, if you want to call back in, I'll take your call. But, okay, he's calling in now. So we've got David. Uh-oh. Oh, there you are. Hey, David, welcome aboard.
Hello, Michael. I just was fascinated by your guest, Dr. Rand, this evening. I really enjoyed listening to him. Hey, Doctor.
Hi. How you doing, sir?
Excellent, excellent. I had a few questions that I wanted to ask you just about the orbital proximity of this planetary encounter that everyone's been talking about, and there's so much hubbub about. I was just wondering, in your opinion, since you stated that it might be a 3-year window that it could be approaching us, do you know how close it's going to come?
Yes. In order to answer your question, I'll cut right to the chase. How's that, buddy? Okay?
Oh, excellent.
All right. Now, it's present day in June. What's 23rd? 24th? 23rd. Tomorrow's election day, 23rd. 23rd tomorrow. We will be at a point where I will know one way or the other these new time portals and how they all work into the equation. My time portal is as this. I'm going to go back to the September 18th, 2016 date. That's always my anchor date. Anything forward or backward, I'll let you know. It's like, AD and BC. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this object, this celestial phenomenon, which should rightfully be called wormwood, as dictated to us in chapter 8, verse 11 of the book of Revelation, and I'm quoting, and the name of the star was wormwood. It's right there in Scripture. It's good enough for me to understand that that was the name that the ancients gave to it. I didn't come up with the name like some people have accused me of. Come on, guys. Long before me, there was a wormwood way, way back. I just reported on the facts. That's all. I brought the story up to date. That's what the Return of Planet X is. It's a biography of the planet's attempt to deal with this object about every 3,600 years. So what I did is, in the book, I broke it down. And I looked at it from religion and from science and pseudoscience and legend and books and pictographs and cave paintings and prehistoric bones and everything. And then, of course, if you remember right, I had that sighting, that thing I visioned in the cave, Quetzalcoatl's tomb. I really didn't finish about that story anyway. Anyway, they did what they had to do. And then just as we were finishing up what they were doing, I think they were taking pictures illegally, I'm not sure. The Mexican police routed us out of there. They're like, Gringo, come on. Because the Federales had found out that we were taken there by the Native Americans, and it caused a huge problem. We barely got out of the Yucatan. I'm telling you, it was exciting. Oh my God. I mean, it was just like cops and robbers. Everybody had guns and machetes, and it was like, this is the Mexicans for you, Mm-hmm. And that was back in 1978. So anyway, I go back to what I saw on the wall, and I realized all the pieces. That was the image. That's all that I needed. Remember I told you I had all these pieces of evidence and 3 by 5 business cards and newspaper, all kinds of stuff, hundreds and maybe thousands on across the wall. That's what it all pointed to. It made sudden, absolute sense. And then, of course, NASA makes their proclamation. We don't have to go into that. Although, I found something very interesting. Yeah, let me do this. This will be fun. By the way, I'm happy to take any calls, please.
All right, well, we have one now, and I guess people are asking in the chat, so how close... Now, you said this thing was on its way back out, and obviously there's questions...
Yeah, it's on its way back out. Yeah, let me address that real quick. Where is it exactly as of today? It's already on its inborn course, has already rounded the solar system. That's what took 12 years, causing disruption to all of the. As it went, it caused all the planets to waver. It's because of its huge magnetic forces, like magnets, back and forth. And it has now completed its pathway up and under the sun. That's why early on it was fairly visible in places like Argentina and the tip of South America. There are many, many, many photos. Do not assume, people. Do not assume that the biggest observatories in the world don't have pictures. How naive.
Well, I've just seen a video on the YouTube recently about a observation post put on Antarctica that shows a picture of something quite large just off the edge of the sun. And is that a picture of it leaving our solar system?
It's possible, of course, having not seen the photograph, but I've seen many pictures such as you've described, and if it's how I think I see it from you telling me, yes, it's probably one of those genuine photographs.
All right,
it's just one of the most uncanny, sir. I cannot explain it. Why the international press, not one person in NASA questioned any of that. Why?
Well, you know what I think? I believe that there's been a lot of deep underground military bases built with tube shuttles in the United States as well as around the world in the last 50 years. And the reason for that, I understand they have underground grow gardens and whatnot for places for our elite to scamper to in case this Planet X does come and cause all kinds of havoc. But this agenda...
So she's on her way out.
Here's right.
The good news.
Yeah, that's the good news.
But she's on her... I call her, Wormwood. She's on her way out now.
Right. But this Agenda 21 that they're talking about, which is the removal of 90% of the Earth's populace by 2029, would point me in the direction of actually believing that these Greys are at one of these deep underground military bases near Dulce, New Mexico, and they're intending to cut down our population to the size where they can control it. And that's the purpose of these underground military bases in all the states now.
Well, that's a heavy indictment. Wow.
Well, what I understand is they're kidnapping our children, ages 3 to 12, and taking them there to drain their pituitary glands of hormonal extract to mix with chemicals to feed themselves and their young. And this is the reason they want to curtail our populace to like I say, 10%, so they can just use the children that are that age and take them from them and hook them to these drainage machines. So that's the purpose of the. Have they produced any evidence to this effect? Well, only the fact that we're missing 250,000 children in the last 10 years, and the pedophiles can't be blamed for all that, and especially when you question where the bones are or whatever. There's no bones and there's no remains, and where are all these children disappearing to? So, with the move in of the Monsanto and HARP and the military wanting to take away all our guns and whatnot, it just all points in that direction to me with, like I say, this Agenda 21 coming down through our governmental agencies. Mm-hmm. So that's what worries me and has made me, question a lot of facts and figures.
There's good news and bad news with that, sir.
Right.
The good news is they may not get the chance.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
We may be hit so hard they'll get jolted in the face because it could come at any moment.
Right.
Now the bad end of that is whomever or wherever the destruction hits is going to have a very rough time, because I assure you, I went through the earthquake sequence in Northridge in Studio City in 1994. I was in a building that came down. We had to dig us out, so I know.
I was living in Venice, California, and I remember that as well.
Were you, sir? Look at that.
Yes.
I was right there in Studio City. I got pounded by 2 earthquakes at the same time, crisscrossing each other.
Well, the 10
that
freeway
was the
fell.
truth of what happened.
Yeah, the 10 freeway
did you
fell.
know that? Did you know that FEMA and LA pulled off the biggest scam in history? Do you know that was a 7.8? And you know what they turned it into?
What?
A 6.8. Anything over 7. Anything over 7. Every single citizen would have had to be given $5,000 on the spot. That's the law.
You felt the tremors for like 3 days every hour.
Oh yeah.
I felt.
I
like
couldn't go
the whole
back.
house would shake. The whole house would shake.
Oh yeah.
A couple of minutes for 3 days.
I had to sneak in to get my computer.
Doc, can you hear me? All right. First off, you got to turn the show off in the background there, and hold on. We've got to get Dr. Rand back on. I don't know what's going on here. I took the call and it muted him. So let me add him back in here. And oh shoot, let's see here. All right, let's call him back. Certain people, when they call,
call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Well, hold on a second, folks. Trying to get Dr. Rand back on here. Let's try this again.
Hello, Michael. They did it again.
Yeah, I went to answer. We have another call that came in. I went to answer it, and it put you on hold for some reason. I don't know why, but
it went dead.
Yeah, I did. So we've got.
All right.
We've got another caller here that I'd like to bring in.
Okay.
But I want to let you finish up with Dave really quick. Dave, anything else? I mean, where were you guys?
Well, I was trying to explain that on or about that date, I think that these perturbations that are causing the sun so much distress, remember, everything and anything that affects the sun in turn affects not only us, but everything else in the solar system. We seem to think that it's only our planet having all these disturbances and weather and natural disasters and earthquakes and storms, and I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Yes, we are in big trouble, but we don't quite know it yet. Now, I gotta go political for a second here. I sure as heck hope that we get this thing right in November. That's all I want to say.
I have no faith in the political system whatsoever, but you know that.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with you for the first time. I think that the American public, notice I said the American public, I don't give regions, I don't go color, I don't go race, I don't go ethnicity. The American people, I think, are really pissed off.
May I say something?
Yes, of course you can, sir.
I believe that the 19 to 35 age group will make the difference in this coming election. If they all vote,
absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
If they all vote together with a write-in ballot, so as to bypass the Diebold machine, so the recount will convince our electoral college of their vote, they could vote in the first independent candidate with the party nationofchange.org. And this is what could very well happen if we all rally together, because it's the 19 to 35 age group voters that could do this. No other age group could landslide the election.
Right. Absolutely. I want to dip back in. I want to finish up about what's going on with the sun, because we got distracted.
Yeah, let's finish up with the sun, and then let's take our next call.
Everybody stay on. You know, everybody that's on, stay on. We've got about another 13 to 18 months to endure whatever the planet throws at us. I'm being very general right now. Let's hope that we don't get really bad tornadoes. Let's hope that we're not going to have any extreme flooding. Let's hope there won't be any. I'm going to run down. Let's hope that there's no major earthquakes anywhere on the planet, and that we don't lose. That we do not lose. Thank God. We do not want to lose one American city, much less any world city. We don't want that to happen. And we don't want there to be fires and earthquakes and landslides and sinkholes and weather aberrations. And I can go on and on and on. I'd like Michael to post this synopsis of events by John Leonardo, and I think rather than me sit here and quote and quote and quote, I think everyone should read it. You don't have to believe it, but why don't you give it a read? He makes more sense. Now, it's a little technical because John is very accomplished. He has a great resume. He's a good writer and a good friend and a good blogger. Puts out some wonderful pieces. I think everybody should sign on to his website, okay? And you have it listed, all right? Now, let me jump back into present day moment. What the heck is going on? We are in trouble on this planet, not just from Mother Nature, but from a host of other deadly things, like terrorism, for instance, which is kind of driving all of this. Imagine if you could just wave the flag one time, the white flag, wave it once, and the whole planet just puts down their arms and everybody says, Kumbaya, what's wrong with us? You know, what happened? We've all got to be friends. You know, no Jews, no Palestinians, you know, no Iran. That's nonsense, of course. I'd like it to be real, but it's not. That's just talking nonsense. It'll never happen. So what will have to happen is that the planet itself, if this thing gets really out of, here's what I think might be happening in this end time scenario. This whole thing about Planet X, which is really a brown dwarf star, leaving our solar system on or about this 18th of October in 2016, will have officially crossed over that median point, that line of demarcation. Now it's going to start its journey back. It's going to leave the sun alone. The sun is going to take about another 6 months to settle down. Possibly on or about the 18th of September. September. There might be a major shifting of one of the hemispheres. Possible. Because the sun will suddenly go back into full power. And it could send out some huge types of solar flare type things. So we got to be careful going into 2016. We're not out of the closet yet. Now, this might all be just horrible to listen to and to think about. Well, you can't say, Michael, that we haven't had enough disaster movies to tell us what could happen. Do you want me to name them?
No.
Of course, the best one was 2012 because you had every possible disaster that could happen in one movie. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Let's, before you get into any of that, let's get our next call. And David, thank you so much for your call, my friend. I appreciate it. All right. Yeah. Thank you. And next up, we have 649 area code. I believe this is from New Zealand. Welcome aboard.
Yeah. Hello, Michael. This is David Dazza, the cameraman Greg here.
Hi,
Thanks
David.
for taking my call.
Oh, sure.
And hello, Dr. Rand. Good to talk to you.
Yes, sir. Welcome aboard, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'd just like to do a quick recap of some points before I get to some questions for you. During the show, we've heard you say that that this Planet X is on its way out of the solar system. We've also
I didn't say out of the solar system. I said leaving, furthering away from it not going through it or leaving it. It never went through the solar system. It came up and around it.
Well, that was bringing me to the next point, that you said that it never entered the solar system. So I stand corrected on the first point. You say that it's on its way out. You're saying that it hasn't left the solar system, but it's moving away from us. Is that what you're saying? Correct?
It's leaving the influence of our solar system, and also it is now loosening its hold on the sun, which is why the sun is behaving very, very erratically. You must follow the research on that.
And I'll just go through these points before we elaborate further on that. So you're telling us that it's moving away and it's losing its hold on the solar system and our sun. Earlier you told us that it has never actually entered the solar system. I'd like you to come back to these points. I just want to recap them first. In your book and the videos that we've seen where you've actually spoken on the videos, you've claimed that Planet X was going to arrive in 2009 and it was going to depart in 2012. Now, you link this in with the 21st of December 2012. Now, you're telling us that it's moving away, and you also tell us that the orbital period is 3,600 years. So I would assume that if it's moving away, that we're not going to see it for another 3,600 years approximately. And also, finally, I would like to point out that you say that it is likely to cause significant changes to our sun and effects on the Earth and so on. Well, I can tell you that the current solar maximum, I'm an astronomer, by the way, an amateur astronomer, the current solar maximum is the quietest it's been in approximately 100 years. In fact, the current solar maximum has been dubbed by NASA Minimax. Now, I'd like to know, please, how far away it is now in AU, approximately. You don't have to give an exact figure, but approximately in AU or astronomical units, how far away it is, where it is now in our solar system, and why we didn't see it in 2009 and 2012. Thank you.
Okay.
That's very well put. Very well put. I could tell you this. I'm not going to try to debate you from an astronomical viewpoint or understanding, because that's not been the purpose of my discussion, first of all. So I'm not competing with you. I can tell you that I have been following this with as true a heart as could possibly be. Either you also do see it and maybe don't choose to see it as I see it, but everything that I've written about in that book has been carefully researched. It wasn't based on astronomical science. I never said it was. So, if you will read the book from cover to cover and then reevaluate your questions to me, I'd like to take those on. But you haven't read the book. I can tell by the nature of your question. You're trying to raise a point I never discussed. I'll give you a general term, a general feeling. It's leaving the influence of the solar system, and it is now affecting our sun a great deal less. Now, as far as our sun being at a solar minimum for its maximum, I don't think that that jives too perfectly with all the abnormal weather patterns we've been seeing and the natural disasters. There's just something wrong between that reasoning and reality. Something's causing the Earth all these problems. Of course, it's the sun. So all we need to do is understand how astronomy works. And I don't mean to be challenging. It's just that you haven't read my book, period. I'll even send you a free copy. How's that? Okay? All right.
Now, can I respond to your points? I don't wish to interject and cut you off, but I would like to respond when possible.
Sure.
Okay. Now, as far as the activity of the sun and the weather on the Earth, the weather changes on the Earth, the climate changes, really have not a lot to do with the solar cycles. I mean, we can look back to the last solar maximum cycle approximately 11 years ago, when the sun was actually a lot more active than what it is currently now. And obviously, we can map the solar maximum cycle, and we do. You can Google it. You can see the charts where you can see it. You can see the familiar wave pattern to the maximum and minimum cycles approximately every 11 years. Now, if you map the activity of the weather, including hurricanes, tornadoes, storms, all that sort of thing, you would not see the same sort of wave maximum minimum to correlate with that. The sort of changes that you're talking about, yes, I acknowledge the weather on the Earth in a lot of cases is a lot more extreme, but I suggest to you that is because of human activities such as pollution and deforestation, which is actually changing the climate. That has got nothing at all to do with the sun. Now, what we're trying to get to the bottom of is, where is this planet X? We can't seem to get you to answer us and tell us where this planet X is, how far away it is from the sun in AU, its proximate position, and why we did not see it in 2009 and 2012 when you said it was arriving and departing. Thank you.
Okay.
I can answer that in one sentence. All you have to do is contact NASA. They're the ones who first discovered it and announced it and wrote about it, and it was followed up a year later by U.S. News and World Report. You see, sir, you're just not right about some things, and the spirit of your question assumes that we have no understanding of what we're talking about. Again, you did not read the book, and I do request that you do. I'm not prepared to tell you in astronomical terms exactly where Planet X is. And by the way, I don't call it Planet X. I call it Wormwood for what it is. Talked about that earlier in the show. Okay? I believe this object is on its way out, and it will stop affecting the sun. Now, I don't want to begin to debate you on whether or not the sun has any effect on what's happening on planet Earth. Oh my God, sir. Everything and anything that affects the sun, no matter what it is, whether it's in a low cycle or a high cycle or goes crazy, affects the Earth and everything else under the sun's influence in the solar system, including everything, the asteroid belt, all the planets, the moons, everything. That's basic astronomy. Now, if you can tell me with conclusive proof in your mind that you can prove that mankind is causing all of this, well, where were you and everyone else when it came time to tell us or to prove to us how dangerous a thing we were doing? Now, that's not your personal responsibility, but I would think that there would be some responsibility from someone in charge. They knew that all this was being caused by mankind, and this didn't happen in the last 5 minutes. Now,
Dr. Rand, can we get back onto the topic of
No, I don't want to go. I don't wish to go back to that topic, because that was not the purpose of me going on the air tonight. I appreciate your question. I'll be happy to respond to it, but I don't want to take up all evening on your agenda. You want to disprove in any way, shape, or form any information pertaining to this object called Planet X or Wormwood. Now, at this point, I wish to go back to my discussion on John Gianardo's paper. By the way, I think that you, sir, would be quite interested in this particular posting on his website. Michael has it up on don't you, Michael?
I will. After the show, I'll get it up on the website. And David, I do thank you for your call. And, you raised some interesting questions. And, everybody wants to know where and when. I mean, even I do. But, you're not claiming to know where it is exactly. I mean, if you were, I'd say, well, Dr. Randon, give me a photo. And then if you did, I'd evaluate the photo. But that's not where we're at. Now, that's what I was telling people in the chat. You weren't coming on tonight to really talk about Planet X. We were talking about John.
No, that was not it at all. I wanted to talk about John's excellent synopsis of what's happening to the Earth's core, because it's being affected by the sun. Hello. Of course the Earth is being excited by something. Something's causing it. It's impossible that mankind could be the only reason. They're saying that mankind is the only reason that the Earth is warming up and that everything is out of cycle and we're all going to die. They're the ones saying that. I'm not saying that. Nope, not at all. I say there's a lot more to the story than that. And when I came across John's excellent writing, I thought, I'd like to hand it off to you to post for your listeners. You see, I don't mind being challenged by this gentleman. He's got his viewpoint. But he wasn't after dialogue. He was after trying to stick me into some kind of a frame of reference of trying to understand something that only he thinks he understands. Did that make any sense?
Well, it does, and you know, I'm not going to...
That he thinks he understands.
Well,
he doesn't understand this thing like I do. He understands it differently than I do. I've researched it.
Well, I just want to say, I don't debate anybody here. I just, it's my understanding that the sun does have a big effect on the weather on this planet.
Of course it does. Why are they constantly talking about solar flares and solar this and solar blast and all this?
I mean,
why do you think they're doing that?
Okay, I'm just saying, it's my understanding that the sun does affect. I mean,
by the way, did that gentleman say that he was an astronomer?
He said, yeah, he's an amateur astronomer. If that, not that matters.
Amateur astronomer. Okay, that's cool.
For the record, I justify when I explain an astronomer and an amateur astronomer, I try to say, well, one gets paid and the other don't. So, just for the record.
Well, no, I'm good for him. Whatever,
yeah.
But don't try to play games with me when I'm trying to discuss something very important, which we got totally synced out of course.
Okay, go ahead and carry on.
Right. Well, I came across something which I thought was excellent. I'm going to quote from here. How much time we got?
We've got another 45 minutes uninterrupted. I'm not going to take no more breaks, so we can go right through.
Okay. The topic of his several-page dissertation is about the potential for our magnetic poles to flip, literally flip, because of irregular rotation of the Earth's inner core. It's a very complicated read. So when you sit down and read it, have a nice hot cup of coffee, and a cinnamon roll. You follow me, Michael?
Yes, I do.
And a glass of cold water, and you sit there and you read it, and you digest it. You will suddenly go, oh my God, maybe he's figured something out. Excellently written. Anyway, I'm going to quote just a couple paragraphs. He's talking about the potential for a polar reversal. Didn't say it was going to happen. He's not predicting it's going to happen, but he says that these things that are going on are symptoms for sure that something is not right with our magnetosphere and our pole stabilization. So I'm going to break into the text, quoting, however, these momentary reversals, that's electromagnetic pole reversals, are not the cause of what may occur in the future, which will be a full and permanent reversal of the polarities of Earth's north and south magnetic poles. That would be a catastrophic phenomenon that has occurred repeatedly at uniform 36½ century intervals throughout Earth's ancient history. I said the same thing in my book. Got a whole chapter on that. This global catastrophe has been and will be provoked by an incoming dwarf star, which NASA has long called Planet X, except they didn't put a hyphen in the X. Right. In fact, you can find published on the internet a NASA document titled The Search for Planet X by the late chief astronomer of the United States Naval Academy, Dr. Robert S. Harrington. Dr. Harrington's long since discovered dwarf star called Planet X will be the very first celestial domino punctuating yet another 36.5 century cometary orbit that will kickstart the destructive chain of events which we are already seeing and feeling. Worldwide, epic floods, droughts, heat waves, frigid winters due to polar vortices, giant hailstones, windstorms, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. This incoming Planet X domino is being irresistibly pulled into our solar system, our sun's great gravitational force field. As always throughout ancient history, this periodically intruding dwarf star, the celestial pendulum, on its chronologically uniform periodic cometary orbit of 3,601.5 centuries, which will be the core's Earth domino. And this will re-amplify in this consequent litany of meteorological disasters that have been plaguing us for the past decade. Ancient historians such as Pliny the Elder recorded accounts that were ancient in his day, that Earth's rotational and axial motion shifted. We've talked about this in the book. Although it was many years ago, I will always vividly remember a statement by my geology professor who said to John, at one time in ancient history, Earth precessed on its axis, and we don't know why. That means flipped. Okay, now, that's just part of his commentary. Almost everything he talked about, with some change, was lifted from something by the History Channel, from a documentary. Everything that I just spoke, from the H2 History Channel documentary, Countdown to Apocalypse. Okay. The narrator giving proof to the idea that a magnetic polar reversal may very well be underway just as the storm cycle of the sun kicks into high gear. Just as the storm cycle of the sun kicks into high gear. Sun doesn't affect anything on the Earth. We all know that, don't we? I'm not trying to be sarcastic, Michael.
Well, I'm not accusing you of that.
No. What I'm saying is I'm in a strange mood tonight. I feel a little bit combative, but you know what? I know I'm right, and I know that I would not mislead your listeners or play games with them. In fact, I know many of them are old listeners. I'm sure they've been with us for a long, long time.
Absolutely.
And nothing we've ever talked about has been untrue, unholy, or unclean. It's always been based on reality or current events, whatever. Now, what should we be doing? Where are we at tonight? I came on for two reasons. I wanted to talk about John's work, our friend. Mm-hmm. The second thing was to ask everybody to just stop tonight. Whoever's listening to us tonight, just stop for a second. Just stop in place. Just sit down or plop down on the couch, or sit there listening wherever you're watching your computer, and just think about what kind of a mess we're in. We're in a hell of a mess. Economically, politically, publicly, religiously, terrorism-wise.
Revelations, maybe? I know a guy that would agree with that.
Maybe we're closer to this tipping point that we alluded to in the beginning of our show tonight. Now, why are we talking about this? It seems like, Michael, every time we get deep into this thing about right and wrong and there's no heaven, there is a heaven, where, all these things, it gets to be very, very, very shaky ground for most people. It's hard for them to take a stance. Follow me? Well, I don't mean to challenge you, but right now, this planet is in a big heap of trouble. And guess what? The the part of Mother Nature is only one facet we need to be worried about. I'm worried that this whole thing is going to come off its wheels.
Oh, it's inevitable. It's, I mean,
we're one newscast away from some idiot bringing down an airliner with an air-to-surface missile, and it's over.
And they've already got one put away to do the job.
Well, now, Michael, do we know that for sure?
No, we don't know that for sure, but we know our government pretty well, don't we?
Well, I do.
Powers that be.
If you become part of that thought structure that they've got a plane out there, that opens up a whole list of possibilities I'm not sure we want to cover right now.
Well, no, because I don't want to speculate too much. But I mean, we can all agree that we're being attacked from all fronts. We're being attacked politically. We're being attacked weather-wise.
Our borders are under attack.
There's the wars. I mean, none of this is on accident. This is all being done on purpose. The agenda is in full force, and people could deny that all they want. I don't care if it's a Planet X or if it's a Darth Vader from a Middle Eastern country or our own president. It's happening. Right. I really don't care what the cause is. We are in some serious right now on this planet.
Well, if you read chapter 8, everybody out there, I'm going to go on good faith and credit, and every person listening, that you guys have got a Bible somewhere in your home tonight. Okay. Mm-hmm. When you have a chance, go grab your Bible and go to the Book of Revelation, the last book in the Bible, go to chapter 8. Start reading chapter 8. You can read it, the whole thing, in 10 minutes. It should shake the living you-know-what out of you, period. Clean up the conversation. That one chapter describes every single thing that's been going on basically for the last 100 years. The Book of Revelation actually goes back further than present day. See, the mystery of the Book of Revelation was that it has been used and interpreted on several other major cusps of human behavior and salvation on the planet. It's not the only time that this book has been used to make it workable for present day events. See what I'm trying to say or suggest?
Yes, I do.
It's been used on other occasions for the same purpose as it's being used now. See, the Book of Revelation is a benchmark of events to come, and most of them have now proven to be totally true. In the time schedule, I believe, we're probably around 30 seconds before midnight on the cosmic clock. Now, how big is a cosmic minute? How long is it? Well, let's put it this way. Not that damn long, okay? A couple tick-tock, 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 tick-tocks, you see, on the cosmic clock. All the pieces are in place right now. This whole business of the caliphate coming together, it's all there. It's all in Scripture. Exactly what's going to happen. See?
Right.
The Russians will join in. Of course they will. As will the Iranians. And it's begun. And who do you think they're going to go after?
Oh, you
only
and I.
Only one direction. It's only one direction, west.
Yeah.
To the coast of the Mediterranean. Then is when the game begins. That's when the cosmic game begins. And that's when I think the second coming will probably make its debut at that point.
Yeah, and I'd like to add, I mean, I believe in God. Now, if someone says, well, can you give me the coordinates to where God is? So No, I can't. I mean, you can't argue with what somebody believes. And there is a lot of stuff out there that is. So I've said this, Dr. Rand. What if Nibiru isn't actually a planet, or a brown dwarf? But what if it's been interpreted wrong and it's like a Star Wars type Death Star? Like we hear about the Anunnaki
Sure.
coming off of
Sure.
it, and so why couldn't it be something like that?
Well, you know how many, Michael, do you know there's at least 5 different interpretations of what Nibiru is, was, where it is? Now, in that piece of, I can't say the word on radio, that thing that I alluded to earlier, made statements that I've made about it that are nothing to do with truth. Nowhere did I ever say what it said I said about Nibiru. They're trying to quote me when I was on George Norrie, and they got it all backwards. I suggested to George Norrie that if there was a strong possibility based on some of the research I had done, that it was possible that there might be a planet Nibiru, and that it might be until behind the brown dwarf. Because according to Sitchin, this was a possibility. So I simply reaffirmed that, because it was making sense to me. Now, if there is a Nibiru, then I'm not sure where it is, or if it's even part of this orbit that this object, this brown dwarf, has been on. But it makes sense that it would be. The question is, why haven't we seen it? Or have evidence of it? A planet that big would definitely leave a wake.
Well, if it was a craft like, say, the Death Star from Star Wars, and I'm not trying to make light of it, that's the best example I have, then who's to say they don't have cloaking? We know that our military right now can hide a tank in plain sight. You wouldn't know. It would blend right in with the background.
Well, here's what I'm confident about. Tonight's been a little dramatic, which is good.
Yeah, it is.
Different kind of show. Hey, different kind of show, okay? I challenge anyone out there to check it out for themselves. You got an internet? Go look up the subject. You're going to find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of websites and DVDs and YouTube stuff, and it goes on and on and on. What is Planet X? What is Wormwood? Who is Dr. Jason Rand? I feel in a way, I feel very honored in a very strange kind of way. I was told by a publicist once, by the way, New York's got better publicists than Los Angeles, enough said, that the more people write about you and challenge you and drag you down and then quote you, that was the key thing, and then quote you, tells you the importance of your next move. How about that?
Yeah.
So, with that said, let's talk about the next 24 to the next 6 months. Let's only do a 6-month thing right now. I would still be personally prepared let's say you're the father, the grandfather, the father. It's your responsibility for every member of your family, which includes mother and the kids and all the pets, even the turtle, and then mom and dad if they're with you, and auntie and uncle and anybody else. Okay. Someone has to be responsible. It's obviously you. The mere fact that you're thinking about it demonstrates your responsibility. The next thing is your list. Everybody has to have a list. Right now. Write down on the piece of paper. Make a list. See, this is a long-term thing. This isn't going to happen in 10 minutes. You need to figure out who you are, where you are, why you are, and when you are. Then, write down, what am I going to do about it? Because you have to make a conscious decision that you need to prepare something. And this whole thing is about preparation. The whole point of writing the book, The Return of Planet X, was to prepare everybody. I knew what was coming, and it's here. It's been coming. Everything in the book we've written about. By the way, guys, you still haven't read the book. Everything that we've discussed or written or researched or plotted has come true, almost on the entire date to the event. Now, I've constantly stressed preparation. Seven's very, very important. Order Out of Chaos. Tell about the government, what's going on. That's a good read. You know, it has nothing to do with conspiracy. It has everything to do with reality. There's something not right with the government right now. You really don't, Michael? Did I just say that?
No.
Oh boy.
Well.
Oh my God.
I mean,
they're listening, Michael.
Yeah.
I know they're listening.
And they'll say, "Can you prove it?" I mean, well, yeah, absolutely. If you pay attention, and you know, the proof is in the pudding. Absolutely, this country's been taken over. Absolutely taken over. It's been robbed, slipped right out from under us. People think they're free.
Well, it ain't over till it's over.
That's what I say.
All right. So let's go here now. You're the leader of the pack in your own family. Under you comes the eldest. Here's the pecking order. Let's say there's 3 kids: an elder boy, a middle girl, and a younger boy or younger girl. The older boy automatically is drafted as the co-captain in the family. That has to be understood from the beginning. He answers to the mother. He and the mother, the kid and the mother, then administrate to the little brother, or little sister, one of each. That's the hierarchy in an emergency plan. Why is that important? Well, first of all, you have to have people who are willing to work with each other for survival. How's that for a statement, okay? Now, sounds awful dire. Why are you talking like that? Well, this swath of tornado disasters that we've been experiencing during the last 6 months, if that's any proof of the unexpected event of death and destruction, tell me I'm wrong, Michael. Tell me how wrong I am for even bringing it up.
No, it does, and I think that geoengineering is playing a big part in it. That's for sure, but it's a number of things, I think.
That's another whole subject.
Yeah.
Geoengineering. All right. Now, I think we're in for an increasing period of earth tremors and then outright big earthquakes. I hope I'm wrong. I'm thinking the middle or fall of 2015 they could start earthquakes. If they don't manifest by January or February of 2016, I think we're over the hump. Over the hump. Things could still be chaotic for a while, but we're not going to have the fear of a major global series of earthquakes.
And
I do think I think the volcanoes will quiet down too.
And this is based now on John DiNardo's sun theory, correct?
Yes, a large part of it.
Okay.
It makes total sense. Because the sun is now going to start to calm down, which will then calm the earth down. See, the earth is just terribly confused right now. Things are happening inside her belly that she has no control over. See, this is no big mystery. The earth isn't trying to kill us. The earth is a living, thinking, feeling. It's a being. It's an earth being. And it's having its own problems right now. And this is what John talks about, John DiNardo. Why the geomagnetosphere is collapsing. In a nutshell, he believes our electromagnetic polarity grids and our north to south alignments and compass degrees are being affected right now. In fact, we know that there's strange changes that are going on. And he believes that this is due to problems that are happening with the Earth's core. That's what the article's about. So it's a little bit much to understand, but it's a fabulous read. I challenge everyone to read this. Don't like it? Fine. But to me, he makes total sense. Couldn't have said it better myself.
And
Okay.
that's
Now,
all I can ask for is, I mean, this is something that you've looked over. It makes sense to you. You're sharing it. And I appreciate that. Okay.
Yep. Don't forget, I didn't write it. I'm only saying that I agree with most of it, almost all of it, as a matter of fact. And it could not have been written more fulfilled with understanding. How about that? It's very complicated what he wrote. Very complicated. But if you sit down and read it, let's say a cup of coffee, a donut, a couple of cookies, a cigarette, whatever, it's a good read. We'll take you 4 to 5 minutes and you're done. All right, now back to what are we doing the next 24 hours? I think what we need to do the next 24 hours is think about what we've talked about and heard about and got questioned about tonight. Tonight's been very revealing.
It has.
Extremely.
And I don't mind it. I encourage the listeners to call in if they disagree. I just insist that they be respectful. That's all.
Right. And we were respectful back, I hope.
I think so.
Okay. All right. So let's quickly go back in the next 24 hours. Let's all think about what we've heard and talked about tonight. If you guys have any questions, go to my website, returnofplanetx.com. It's really entertaining. You'll have a lot of fun. You can also hook up with a book there, which I will sign and send to you. Okay? I'll send it to you for less than half price. And I'll sign it to you. Once this lot is sold, that's it. I'm not printing anymore. I'll probably just keep 100, in a box somewhere, But once these are gone, they're gone. Okay. We want to take a moment to address the mothers and the daughters about how important it is to look after family members. We talked about the responsibility of the eldest son and then the little boys. Same thing with daughters. You become the fail-safe point for the children under you. Once that hierarchy is established and respected, then survival is all the more easier. So what you guys got to do is this. You should have a supply of canned food, water, pet food, whichever the pets you have. You need powdered milk. You need some spices. You need things like TP, extremely hard to get. You need medicines, as much as you can stockpile. Don't be afraid to buy a couple tins of aspirin, things like that. And alcohol. Really important to have some alcohol stash. I know what happened during that earthquake. I almost broke a rib and I had welts on the back of my neck and my head from hitting the baseboard with that. Remember I told you that earthquake I was in?
Yes, in California.
That thing roared for 2 minutes and 22 seconds. And I was awake during all of it. Anyway, be prepared. You never know when or from where. Up above you or from below you. Sinkholes are increasing. They're just not reporting them, by the way. See, the whole plate structure of North America is changing. It's being affected by these inner forces, the skin crust of the planet. All that earthquakes are is the shifting of the crust. That's all it is. Okay, so water, canned food, powdered milk, baby food, all the essentials. And you need to store it in those movable, what are they, 30, those blue bins, what about 30 gallon, Michael?
Yeah, 30
blue bins with lids.
Right.
That's the object of choice for storing up for an emergency. You can put almost anything in there, including weapons. So have at least a half a dozen bins available for you to put your stuff. And by the way, if you need to flee with pets, whatever you do not put two cats in one cage. They will kill each other. Okay?
Okay.
Keep cats in separate cages. Same thing with small dogs. Never put two small dogs together. The kiss of death for one of the dogs. Okay. You have to understand that the planet is only reacting from within itself. It has no control over what's happening to it because it's being affected by this massive thing we call the sun. You know, without the sun, there's no Earth. There's no life on Earth. So I don't know what these guys are all cranking about global warming. Of course there's global warming, if that's what you want to call it. But it has nothing to do... Well, it has something to do with mankind. I'll give them that. But not everything to do with mankind.
Amen.
Or cows flagellating and stuff like that. That's nonsense. One volcano belches up enough CO2 and sodium and ammonia and all these other terrible things, gas. One belch from the ocean, and most of mankind in one day. All right. I want to leave everybody with a sense of awareness. That when we talk like we do, it comes out of deep concern. Okay. Time to take a little shot of water.
Go for it. And folks, I'll get that article up on latenightinthe-midlands.com sometime after the show.
Good. So the way it stands, excuse me, there we go. Commander, take control. We may be in somewhat of a lull period. Now, with what's going on terrestrially with terrorism, I don't even want to go near that one. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to discuss it. It's a mess. It's only going to get worse. Just leave it go at that. We should be protecting our own borders. That's all I'm going to say. Because that's where it's going to come to. Just like that. When it comes to the spiritual part of all this, that's where a lot of people are going to have a hard time attaching to it. I believe that there's a spiritual content or religious content or both for all these different religions. And unfortunately, only one of them's going to be right. That's the sad thing. The good thing is it's going to eliminate all the competition. Do you think that was unkind to say, Michael?
No, I don't think that was unkind at all. I think it's very true. The system on this planet as we know it is going to change. It just is.
It's going to implode. And it could be that the Earth itself does it. Do you realize what would happen in one fortnight, a couple days? We lost 3 or 4 major cities around the world. Don't you think everything would come to a screaming halt real fast? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Power grids would be down. Whole cities would be dark. Oh my goodness! Then watch the beetles come out of the woodwork. Watch the bugs come out. It won't be easy. So let's hope none of that happens.
And that's what I do. I hope that it don't happen, but it could, and that's why it's a good idea to be prepared. You never know. Could be a Katrina. Yeah. Look what happened on the Philippines. Yeah. I mean, the strongest winds ever recorded, I believe.
Yeah.
233 miles an hour. That's a lot of wind.
Yeah. Exactly. We've had at least 3 tornado warnings since I've spoken to you here, and I had one that touched down on about 4 miles away from here.
Well, be careful.
It was about 6-8 weeks ago. Huh?
So be careful, because those suckers sneak up on you.
Oh yeah, and I've had my jousting with a tornado up close once. I'll tell you that next. In fact, I think I did mention it one time when I was on the air. in Horn Lake, Mississippi. I almost got sucked out by a tornado. I was stupid enough, while the roof is flapping and banging and the house is shaking, I try to get out the front door to see what's causing it, and there's the damn tornadoes right above me. Sucked me right out of the house. And if I hadn't grabbed on, you know how you get those narrow kind of pillars?
Yeah.
You know, that go up and down for the railing for the fence. If it wasn't there, I would have got sucked right up into that thing. It took me at least 30, 40 seconds to break free of it and try to get back into the house. And I barely made it because it wanted to suck the door in my face. See? Anyway, tornadoes are very real. They're very deadly. Now, everyone should have an emergency bag for every person in the household. Every child should have their own personal bag. A few diapers, some bandages, some little medicine, her little thing, you know, her chapstick. You need to prepare for each and every individual because each and every individual is different. So every child should have their own traveling tote bag. You know, like a gym bag that they could tote. That's something that's theirs. And in it should be a house key and a list of instructions on where that child, who he belongs to. There should be an ID in the bag. Okay? Just a couple things that I write about in articles and things. Now, the next thing is if you're going to do a spiritual thing on this, don't be a hypocrite. Don't read it and go, oh, yeah, and walk away and go, ain't going to happen. Because that's when it happens.
Yeah, right. That is when it happens.
It never fails when the snake's out of the bag that it strikes. Okay? All right. Now, I don't want this to scare anybody. That's not the point of coming on tonight and having fun with everybody. It's to think. Just stop and look at your own personal circumstance. I don't care where you live. I don't care if you're on the 90th floor of a super luxury condominium or if you're in downtown Memphis, because I'm just outside Memphis. Take stock of your individual situation. Do I have the basic necessities? Am I prepared? For instance, I've got 5 beautifully talented, wonderful, sweet, rescued cats. Each one of them has different needs. I've actually got a tote bag with stuff for each one of them in it. I'm ready to go. And I have a separate container for each cat. You cannot put 2 cats in a cage. I don't care how small and cuddly they are. You cannot do it. It's deadly to the animals, possibly to both of them. Dogs should always be in kennels, always, unless it's a big dog and you can control them, you know, and all that stuff. Because if the hammer comes down and the power grid goes down, can you imagine what it will be like, Michael, in a city your size with no power for weeks, maybe? Which means no refrigeration, which means low food stocks, which means grocery stores, if they exist, will have no way to keep stuff fresh. So suddenly we'll be fresh market people. Remember back in the 50s and 60s?
Yeah. Well, not the 50s and 60s. I remember the late 70s and 80s.
Okay. All right. So, you know, as we look back on what we're discussing tonight, it's not meant to frighten anybody. It's meant for me to say to you, hey, Charlie, wake up. Smell the coffee. Something's not right on this planet. Something's not right with the government. Something's not right with the states. Something's not right with the misuse of the Constitution. Something's not right about all the misleading and the lying and the cajoling and the nastiness and the border problems and all this stuff. We are in one hell of a mess. And we got ourselves into it. I'm sorry. We all got ourselves into it. We all did what we did back in 2008 and then in 2012. That's all I'm going to say. Now, what do we do about it? you take personal responsibility first. Take the lemon and squeeze out some lemonade. Get control of yourself, get control of your possessions. If you have a little bit of money, convert it to bills and coin. Gold coin's fine, but it's going to be a little bit hard to not become a target if you get a lot of gold. Okay? I'm saying the worst case scenario. I'm saying Katrina all over again, but let's say 5 different cities. How's that? Or an earthquake that might take out like St. Louis or Memphis. I'm right on the fault. Well, I'm about 120 miles south of where the fault ends. But if a big one rips through that one, the New Madrid, I'm probably going to get whacked. We'll see. That's how practical I am, Mikey.
Yeah.
If I get it here, I get it here. But this is where I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing.
And again, you're saying this is certainly a possibility. I mean, nobody, because that's like somebody saying you're fear mongering if you say an asteroid could hit the planet. I mean, we're in danger of that every single day. You never know when that's
asteroids hit the planet all the time.
Well, I mean,
small ones
a good one.
Small ones are just called space rocks, but they're asteroids.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
I mean,
All right, so Dr. Rand, I've got about another 3 minutes for you tonight. And I want to give you a chance to finish up, and I want to thank you for coming on. And I will have you back on. It might be as soon as next week. I'd like to get John DiNardo on.
Yeah, let's do a really nice panel thing. That would be great.
All right, great.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, everybody, thanks for listening tonight. I know it's been a little bit waggy and wicked and wild, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I never promised you a rose garden, did I, Mike?
No, you certainly didn't.
All right. Boy, I sure love that song. It was sung by a Canadian girl. What was her name? Gosh. Promised you a rose garden. She's from Montreal, I think. Anyway, I love that song. Okay, everybody. Do 2 things. Just think about what we've talked about tonight. If you don't do anything else, just think about it. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to write anything. You don't have to get upset. Just think about what we talked about. And if you want to go further, contact us. Contact John or myself. Go to my website, eternalplanetx.com. Check in. I got some interesting stuff there. I got to make some changes, but it's a good site. And if you want to get a book, I'll send you a book, half price. I'll sign it. Send you a personal message. But don't criticize until you read, and don't judge before you read.
Absolutely.
And all these people who like these people who sent out that garbage to you about me, they're going to get theirs, Gad. I'm telling you. If not Mother Nature, some other way. We'll see. Okay.
All right. Well,
right.
Dr. Rand, thank you again. And as always,
thanks for having me on. And everybody, the future is exactly what you make of it every second of every moment of every day of your life. Amen?
Amen. God bless, Doc.
All right, buddy.
All right.
God bless everybody. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye, Dr. Rand. We'll talk to you again really soon. And so there you have it, Dr. Jason Q. Rand. And off of Alaska, right? I think it was today.
No, it's probably up on my screen on my emails. I get alerted by USGS on every earthquake 5.5 or above anywhere on the planet. And I now have about 400 recorded major earthquakes. And they've all created a pattern. And I think I want to write an article on it, but I don't know if I have the energy. We're nearing the tipping point. And once these earthquakes begin, it's going to set off the volcanoes. See, they go hand in hand together. And there are a number of volcanoes along this ring of fire that are already burning underneath. Thousands of them. Did you know that there is more bad CO2 and sulfur releases and all these other poisonous gases. When an undersea volcano belches into life, it can cascade 100 tons of caustic gases into our atmosphere in one plume, and they go off hundreds every day. Yes, we have a changing problem with the Earth apparently seeming to warm, but it's not either warming or not warming. It's terribly confused. See, here we go. Everybody's going to jump all over this. Well, okay, don't like it, don't listen.
That's right.
How's that?
All
All right.
I agree.
All right. I think that we are nearing a tipping point where the frequencies and the magnitudes and the patterns of these earthquake activities is about to become paramount in releasing a certain type of earth energy, in this case, volcanic, along with the earthquakes. I think it's just a bad timing for us. Now, one or more may not happen. If we escape both of them in a serious way, and we escape this going into 2016 without any major earthquakes or without losing any major cities, or shipping on the ocean, tidal waves, stuff like that. If we get through this September 2016, then the landing will be in perfect timing and harmony. However, if we don't, and there is a series of earthquakes, then that timing period, September 18th, 2016, becomes now even more important for reasons we don't yet totally understand. I don't yet know. I know when and where, but I'm not sure exactly why and to whom. I'm finding that out now.
Okay.
Now, Mexico is very important here, by the way. Mexico City, the entire city, is built upon a sinking lake bed from prehistoric times. The ETs, I believe, will try to be doing some earth stabilizing technique to stop the sinking, because if it continues, it's going to gobble up most of the interior of Rome in about 100 years. Gone forever, beneath the sand. To this whole Planet X mystique thing.
All right.
We're going into a new area here, so I'm going to divert for the moment from John's comments, and I want to go to my own comments about where I think we are at in this cosmic dance with the brown dwarf, of which these people, these nice people up in Canada and in Australia, you know who you are. You think you know it all, but you don't know half of what you think you don't know. In fact, you're clueless. We are probably 13 to 18 months out. Here we go. Now they're going to start misquoting you. You watch. And they'll get it all wrong. Write this date down. I'm going to go public as of this moment. Everybody out there, grab a pen and pencil. Just scratch anything. Pen, pencil, whatever. October 18th, 2016. I'm going to suggest and predict that on or about that exact date, a day before, a day after, a day past, that there will be first proof of extraterrestrial landings in either Mexico City or Veracruz on the ocean, Pacific side, or in both simultaneously. And that will signal the beginning, excuse me, tight throat tonight. That'll be the beginning of the new line of communication being set. And then I do expect that there will be large contingencies of sighted craft. No more science fiction. No more HARP and all this other stupid stuff. It all has to end. They will simply make themselves known. They don't have to fire a shot to change things. All they have to do is make their appearance known. Maybe land a couple, but they don't have to fire a shot, and wouldn't need to. I just took a little slug of water, guys. Thank you. We are probably 12 months away from the start of what could be a quickly escalating series of earthquakes, which I believe will begin somewhere in the Kamchatka Peninsula area and going down the Pacific coast, tearing through Japan. I think there could be a severe earthquake there, very severe. And it'll keep on going. It'll start hedge hopping. What I believe is happening is that the core structure of the planet, now guys, get this right, is becoming more and more unstable, just like in one of these sci-fi movies. Isn't it amazing? We've already seen all the worst of the sci-fi movies, haven't we? 2012, when there's no escaping and everything, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, no, it's not been that bad, and don't try to make it like that. That's not what I'm doing.
Well, there was just an 8.0.
So, if this works, it'll be a demonstration. I'm going way out on a limb here. It's a demonstration of their goodwill toward helping man. Now, Mexico has been extremely friendly to the entire UFO community and world and newspapers and TV and news. It's a common thing in Mexico. Everybody knows there's flying saucers. Everybody sees them. If you don't believe me, just go out.
Oh, I do believe you. I've seen my own. I mean,
All right.
Yeah. So.
All right. So where are we going with this? Real simple. I think that we're headed for a very rough period, which could be good, bad, or really ugly. Because the storms, as you said earlier in your opening, the storms are still getting worse, and so are the tornadoes. We're getting tornadoes now where we shouldn't get tornadoes. Not really. Which leads me to John's work. Okay, we got that segue. That was a good segue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure it was going to work. Okay. You see, we are vulnerable people. We do have to take second thoughts about things we say and places we go. All right. This is under date by John. This is by John DiNardo, a good friend and I believe, a respected writer and researcher. Do you mind if I give out his? I guess can I do that? Give out his.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Website?
Give out any information you like. Sure.
I think. Ask John if he'll add you to his daily newsletters. They're fabulous.
Oh, he keeps me updated all the time. So.
Well, listen. Can you post it then? You've got it.
Yeah, I'll post it.
Why don't you post it for everybody? Then we don't have to waste time on it right now. Okay. All right. This is posted on Saturday, June 21st, 2014 at 9:54 a.m. This is when he posted this entry. It's entitled, "Why the Geomagnetosphere is Collapsing." Now that's pretty damn scary, isn't it? What is a geomagnetosphere in the first place? Well, it goes into what the central core of the Earth's dynamo machine is thought to be a solid piece of inner core that's been forced off its normal center point. And therefore, that solid inner core, which would look, okay, let's pretend it's an huge iron bowling ball, okay, has been revolving rather than rotating within Earth's molten outer core. Okay, stop there. Earth's molten outer core. So right there we understand that the Earth's core is magma right off the bat. And now it's even more important because they've been finding an increased movement of magma flows in all of these major earthquakes. Very important. Okay. What's happening is, I'm going to veer off his script for a second. What's happening is that our sun, the two cultures, I tried to cement it in my mind, and then when I linked it up with chapter 8 in the book of Revelation, which is all the trial and tribulation that Mother Earth will go through at this point in time, so many years out from the start of the tribulation, that it all suddenly came together. You see, I had this wall. I remember I was in my apartment in Colorado and had this white wall, and I knew how to plaster little holes, you know. So I had this wall full of cue cards and pictures and pieces of this and that story, all about Wormwood and this Planet X and this thing that they call the dwarf brown star, and went on and on and on, and I got all of this evidence. And suddenly, it started to come together like a picture. It was a very, Michael, this was one of the most magical, special moments that I can remember, is one afternoon, I suddenly looked, I breathed into the living room, because it was on the living room wall, and I stopped and I looked, and I turned around and I looked again, and suddenly I saw what was slowly coming together in bits and pieces. It was like looking at a map of the United States with, 3/4 of the states filled in. I'm using that as an example, okay? And I said, I know exactly what this thing is. And I went to town, and I filled in all the blanks, and I knew exactly where to look, because each clue that I had engaged me to keep going until the next clue. But every time I uncovered a major clue, which I covered, see, stupid remarks they make about the book, they've never read it. Most of the things they say about the book are not true because it never appeared in the book. All kinds of wild claims. The earth was going to absolutely be ripped apart, and there would be nothing left, and no human being would survive. I don't know where the hell they got that from. So, most of these rabid fans, and I'm sure, and I don't mean that too disrespectfully, that really hate the book have never read it. You can't hate something that's absolute truth based on years of research. By the way, every single chapter has its own bibliography, page number, section number, publishing date, publisher, everything. Everything in there can be checked out. I dare you to go after one fact and prove it wrong based on my bibliography. You do that and you find one, you bring it to me, and I'll make corrections, okay? And anybody out there, I just challenge you. I get these ridiculous statements attributed to this object, which people don't know if they say Planet X. Let's jump right in there real quick. Let the other thing go now, okay? While I'm doing that, I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Good. Okay, Planet X is not a planet. Planet X is a brown dwarf star. It's been called Planet X because that's the acronym that most people have put to it over the years. There are hundreds and hundreds of books. It's still undergoing a series of miscommunicating power surges that have been driving at, toward, and around the sun now for about 12 years, up real close. This goes back to the original thing in the book. Okay, let me say a quick thing about the book. If any of your audience out there has not yet had a chance to pick up my book, I'm offering them at only $14.95 plus $2 shipping and handling, and you get the book for less than half price, and I'll sign it. I'll let you read the book. Everything we talk about in that book, Michael, you've given many of them away.
Yes, I have.
Every single thing we spoke about has come about mostly within and on time, on schedule, including this period that we're talking about right now. All of this is covered in the book.
Well,
The past, present, and future tense. I tried to bring it together. Mind you, I have been researching this book for about 10, 11 years. It took 7 years to write it, so that's 17 years. You know how it all began? By a cave painting in a snake-infested cave in Yucatan in 1978, which I was an expedition member. I very rarely talk about this. I very rarely talk about this. The person I was with was a very famous anthropologist, map maker, psychologist, insectologist. He had like 6 PhDs. And he found out where Quetzalcoatl's tomb was. And there we were. It's at 4:30 in the afternoon, and there was a curse. It said, "You must be out at sundown. You cannot get caught in Quetzalcoatl's cave past sundown. Sheer death." That was the thing. That was the rumor. And it was there on the wall while they're doing their thing. Of course, Quetzalcoatl wasn't there, but there was evidence he was there. Paintings and all kinds of stuff. And some relics, which we didn't touch. I saw this map thing to scale of this object that appears to be coming toward the solar system. These were like little pictures, like little pictographs. And if you really looked at them and your eyes moved, you could see this object. These are little paintings of this object coming toward our solar system, whipping out behind the back of the sun and back out again. And then it went out into what looked like a void. These pictograph paintings. And we were not allowed to have any cameras. That was the agreement with the Indians. These were the real descendants of the Incas and the Aztecs. By the way, they are now not that much different to